Fresh controversy brews at Karnataka's Hubballi. Hubballi's Idgah Maidan has now turned into a political flashpoint in Karnataka, the poll-bound state. A day after AIMIM's Tipu Jayanti celebrations, Sene, the right-wing Hindu group, has celebrated Kanak das Jayanti at the Idgah Maidan. Sene chief Pramod Muthalik performed pooja at the Idgah Maidan, also sprinkled Gaumutra at several spots in the Idgah Maidan, only to cleanse it after Tipu Jayanti celebrations. Slamming the AIMIM, Muthalik has said that Tipu Sultan was anti-Hindu and celebrating his Jayanti was wrong. This comes after Pramod Muthalik and some of the members of the extreme Hindu right-wing organizations were detained as they tried to disrupt Tipu Jayanti program that was being celebrated there. In fact, calling Tipu Sultan a barbarian who inflicted untold miseries on many Hindus. BJP's cell head, Amit Malviya, has now, the IT cell head, has slammed the AIMIM for celebrating Tipu Jayanti at the Idgah Maidans. Now, clearly this has become quite a political flashpoint right ahead of elections in Karnataka.
टिप्पू जयंती करके अपवित्र किए थे, अशुद्ध किए थे, इसलिए हमने गोमूत्र यहाँ फैलाकर शुद्ध किए हैं। जिस टिप्पू सुल्तान ने देशद्रोहिता, मतांधता, हजारों मंदिर तोड़ा है, हिंदू विरोधिता, लाखों हिंदुओं को तलवार के आधार पर इस्लामीकरण किया है, तो इनका जो यहाँ जयंती मनाया गया तो अपवित्र हो गया था। शुद्धिकरण करके हमने कनक जयंती आचरण किया है।
देखिए मैडम, ये बहुत ही गलत बात है और अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल काम करे हैं। हम इसको कंडेम करते हैं। प्रमोद मुतालिक को कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के बारे में पता नहीं है शायद। इस देश में सबको समान अधिकार है, लेकिन उन्होंने ये आज जिन्होंने काम किया है उसको हम खंडन करते हैं। आगे के दिन में हम प्रमोद मुतालिक के बारे में हुबली और धारवाड़ के दलित और मुस्लिम ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस उनके खिलाफ हम लोग एहतजाज करेंगे।
All right, that's the kind of political backlash that this Tipu Jayanti celebration by the AIMIM has got in Karnataka. But one must remember, AIMIM as a political party has no relevance or standing in Karnataka. They barely have a grassroots cadre or members or support for that matter. Now, the AIMIM venturing into Karnataka right ahead of polls also raises several questions. At this point, AIMIM has pushed for Tipu Jayanti celebrations at the Idgah Maidan, the same Tipu Jayanti that was usually otherwise celebrated by the Congress. But it appears that the Congress party in Karnataka are now very strategically staying away from any kind of Tipu Jayanti celebrations after it visibly hurt their vote bank. At least those Hindus who were voting for the Congress were quite upset with the Congress for celebrating and endorsing Tipu Sultan in the state of Karnataka, where many of them still believe that he was a tyrant and conducted forced conversions in parts of Karnataka. Now, it was in the Congress, surprisingly, pushing for Tipu Jayanti. It was the AIMIM who's ventured into the state of Karnataka right ahead of elections. Let me cut across to Nagarjun Dwarkana joining us live for more on that. Nagarjun, quite a surprise that it wasn't the Congress this time pushing for Tipu Jayanti celebrations. It's the AIMIM who has no significance or relevance in the state of Karnataka, but right ahead of elections, very strategically, has pushed for Tipu Jayanti at the Idgah Maidan. And now, of course, quite naturally, we see this kind of communal clash unfolding.
That is true. In fact, when the Congress also is doubting the same intention, that why is MIM coming to Hubli and trying to celebrate Tipu Sultan Jayanti, it clearly shows they want to divide votes. But however, they did celebrate yesterday on the 10th of November. It was Tipu Jayanti in Hubli, Idgah Maidan, and now Sene Chief Pramod Muthalik has gone in and cleansed the Idgah Maidan ground and claiming it to be dirty and unclean. And now he's poured Gomutra all over the Maidan, and he said now it's clean. And he's also celebrated Kanak das Jayanti, which also is being celebrated across the state here. And Mr. Muthalik went on to say that AIMIM, who celebrated Tipu Sultan Jayanti, had dirtied the place or lessened the sanctity of the place, and now by pouring the Gaumutra, he has cleansed the whole Maidan.
All right, Nagarjun, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to BJP's Amit Malviya joining us on the phone line. Mr. Malviya, we're seeing AIMIM, which has no relevance in the state of Karnataka, right ahead of elections in Hubballi, pushing for Tipu Jayanti celebrations to be carried out. And they conducted the Jayanti successfully. And now we see that Pramod Muthalik, some of the right-wing groups, now insisting that they want to celebrate other festivities there. Gaumutra is being sprinkled. Almost a stage being set for communal clashes ahead of polls.
Well, I don't know whether this is a precursor to communal rhetorical clash, as you call it. But the issue is that Tipu Jayanti is an affront to sensibilities of all Indians, including Muslims. His legacy is a blot. He's a barbarian who killed several thousand people, Hindus, Christians, Catholics, you name it. Till date, the Mayandan Iyengar do not celebrate Deepavali because he destroyed their villages and killed lakhs of people. These are recorded in history. He was no freedom fighter. He used the French, who were as much colonizers as the British, to fight against each other. He invited Zaman Shah from Afghanistan to wage a jihad in India. So these are not signs of a man who could be called a freedom fighter or somebody who should be revered. And for Owaisi and his party to now venerate him only suggests that they are living up to their own legacy of being the inheritors of Razakars who ethnically cleansed the Hindus in Hyderabad. So it takes one to recognize the other. Owaisi and Tipu Sultan are cut from the same cloth. They do not represent Indians or, for that matter, even Indian Muslims. But they continue to be eulogized because they believe that somehow Indian Muslims would relate to them, and that's quite unfortunate.
Right. You know, isn't it ironic, Mr. Malviya, that you have the Congress otherwise insisting on celebrating Tipu Jayanti? Over the years, they have done it under Siddaramaia's leadership, but this time they're steering clear from celebrating Tipu Jayanti. In fact, they asked the government not to give permission to AIMIM to celebrate it.
Well, this is competitive minoritism. The Congress realized that celebrating Tipu Jayanti was not giving them the desired electoral yield as they would have liked, and so they have withdrawn now. But since the AIMIM, which is wanting to make its presence felt in Karnataka, has chosen to go down that same path, they are opposing it. So this minority appeasement and competitive minoritism, as I call it, is what is at play in Karnataka at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Malviya, for joining us on that. We see now this is turning into a communal flashpoint indeed, with Tipu Jayanti being celebrated at the Idgah Maidan. Now we have Kanak das Jayanti being celebrated. And ahead of that celebration, we see the Shriram Sene's Muthalik pouring Gaumutra all along the Idgah Maidan in Hubballi.